Hi all. These are generally conversations between adults after the children have left the table. The language can be spicy and the subjects can get saucy. So if you're ready, this is the Southern Fork. Unscripted kitchen chats and also studio chats with some of the most interesting voices in the culinary South. I'm Stephanie Burt, a food and beverage writer based in Charleston, South Carolina, who travels with her fork to write for a variety of publications, from magazines you might have on your coffee table to the website you love to visit for your favorite recipes. And I'm inviting you to come behind the scenes with me to get to know the people who make this Southern culinary landscape so special. I'm always hungry for the next bite, thirsty for that next sip, and ready for the next conversation. Let's dig in. The Southern Fork is presented this year by Townsend Automotive in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Honda CR-V has been my favorite vehicle in Honda's lineup for years because it has great gas mileage and can haul a vintage furniture find with ease. In fact, it's so easy for getting out there in general, from the beach to the mountains to even the next photo shoot for a Southern travel article. Purchasing a CR-V from Townsend Honda means purchasing from a family-owned company built on service and connection with its customers, and they want to remind you of the joys of a jaunt down the road. Visit townsendhonda.com for current inventory, or if you're in West Alabama, stop in. Townsend Honda salutes local entrepreneurs, from restaurateurs to podcasters, and they welcome you to be part of a community that does the same. In the world of creativity, writing like yourself, playing music like only you can play it, or cooking from a true place and point of view inside yourself, that's the sweet spot. We're all chasing that, and even when we find it, we have to find it again every time we sit down to create, which is part of the frustration and part of the fun. Shuai Wang cooks from just such a place, a culinary intuition that straddles two cultures. He met his wife and business partner, Corrie Wang, at New York City's Chez Sardine, where he was chef de cuisine and she worked front of house. They moved south, eventually opening Short Grain Food Truck, from which Shuai was nominated for Rising Star Chef in 2017 by the James Beard Foundation. Now, he and Corrie own and operate Jackrabbit Filly in North Charleston, South Carolina. Named after Shuai and Corrie's Chinese zodiac animals, the restaurant serves heritage-driven new Chinese-American cuisine in a fun, friendly neighborhood environment. It's quirky, it's busy, and oh, so delicious. Welcome to the Southern Fork, Jackrabbit Filly.
Ooh, thank you for having us.
Yeah, very happy to be here.
So last time I said that, we were saying welcome to the Southern Fork Short Grain.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that this morning.
We were in the food truck.
Trailer.
Yep.
Trying not to, I think I wrote in the caption, we were trying not to stroke out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was June, and
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
let's
very
record
hot.
in here because I was dumb.
Yeah.
The funny thing is now that it's summer in Charleston, the restaurant's not that much cooler.
Yeah, I think it's spelled the same. Yeah.
So, I'm so happy to welcome you back as a small group of people get to be on a couple times. But as I go through this journey myself, I'm sure that number will increase over time. So for a listener, last time I spoke with them, they had a food truck. Then it became a pop-up, then a pop-up residency, and then the restaurant. So how long has Jackrabbit been open?
November will be 2 years.
Right.
So over a year and a half now.
It doesn't feel like a year and a half. It feels like forever because, well, 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we're fully open here in Charleston. We're not going to go into all of that, but y'all, we're super safe through that period. Now that we're back open and the restaurant is working at full capacity, do you think it's like what you thought it was going to be? Because it's not like you didn't have restaurant experience in restaurants before.
Yeah.
I think we thought coming off the food truck, and everybody was like, oh, a food truck is so hard. You're never going to want to do that. And we were like, whatever. We've been in restaurants. And then we did a food truck and we're like, oh my God, this is so hard. I think coming off of that, we thought a restaurant is going to be so much easier. Maybe not that naive of it, but it will be better than a food truck.
Right.
And I think a restaurant just has all this other stuff that makes it just as gruesome sometimes.
Different roadblocks.
Gruesome, but different.
Yeah. Different kind of gruesome. Same, but different. I just think, yes, the food truck was hard in its own way where, you had to drive to places, you had to find gigs or just, like the hours were weird and space is small. But, like it was just Corrie and I and, Tim Logan who helped us out for a long time. Now it's us and we have to manage
24 other people.
24 other children. They're children. But we love them. And, but yeah, it's just, there's different kind of,
And it's opening and closing whether you want it to or not most days. You can't say like, we're going to take a week off in that situation.
Corrie still does that.
I try. I try very hard. And like our little team of management will be like, you don't have to close an entire restaurant in order to take a week off. Like that's what we're here for. And it's like, yeah, but like, we're not going to get away the same way that we will. Mm-hmm. And also, it has been one of those ups and downs that as soon as you think you're like perfectly staffed out again, like someone goes on vacation or someone leaves or something happens. So you are just there all the time. And the only way to know that you really get to disconnect is to like
make sure it's closed.
Close it. Yeah.
So, I had Lazy Betty on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and Ron grew up in his mom's restaurant, and it was just a home to him, a second home, a first home. They were there more, the kids were there, that kind of thing. And I wrote about y'all in Condé Nast Traveler this year and said that you're, to me, the 21st generation of the mom and pop restaurant. I hope that's okay. It's kind of an edgy mom and pop, but it's still mom and pop. Mom and pop. Yeah. You just called your staff children.
Yeah, we always call them the kids. And we don't always mean it in a mean way either, Shuai. They're children. They're the kids.
But that idea of digging in and doing it as a practice instead of a job. There are jobs that you can clock out of, and then there are jobs that are practices. You both know that. Writer, chef, restaurateurs, those are practices. What have you learned in that practice? Because it's a year and a half, and Shuai, your food is better than it's ever been.
Thank you.
And you can do whatever you want, which sometimes is French onion dip, but really chefed up. So what have you learned in your practice? I'm going to ask each of you that.
Oh, wow.
Well, since the opening of the restaurant, I realized how important patience is. Patience with, either your staff or yourself or just any process that, that gets the job done. Like, it's very hard to, like, when you work at a certain speed or, growing up having, in my career in New York, you're just always on the go and everyone's super fast and you're just go, 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 go. But and then you don't realize that everyone doesn't work like you and maybe not have the same skill level or like have to, brought up in the same kind of way you did in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And having to like guide and teach people that have never done Chinese cooking at all, and it takes a good amount of patience and just, you gotta really tell yourself, these are super hardworking people and they love being here. They want to work here, and you just got to teach them and just have the patience to do that.
And it's a communication skill.
Yeah.
Knowing how to do something and knowing it well enough to break down the steps to teach somebody are two different things.
Right. And that's really hard for us just because it's not like, oh yeah, we're slow and I have time to teach you. It's just like, holy crap, let's go.
Right.
I need you to get this in like 30 seconds or we're screwed.
Right. I was going to say, I think you're good probably with the first time teaching thing, but it's sort of like the repeat lessons that are hard to sort of maintain that same level, because you get it that people don't know how to do this thing the first time, but when it takes like a little bit more to like pick it up, I think is where the test kind of comes in, probably for both of us, just because you are just constantly tired and overworked, and you have a list of all these things on your plate too that still need to get done. So to have the patience to sort of step back and be like, okay, cool, like that's not the way I said, but here it is. I think that's where we probably both are learning.
Yeah, it's being just a manager in the kitchen before in someone else's restaurant is different than owning something and having this to be your place and having your own staff that works for you. It's just a whole different kind of management. And you just gotta remind yourself that these people work super hard and like again like they want to be here and like they want to learn from you, so you gotta
And that's really what I meant by the mom and pop kind of thing. It isn't just y'all running it, but the feeling in there is that we all want to be there. It's a community place, right? Yeah, and you have a lot of regulars. I've been called out as one, but y'all, it's on my road. Basically.
Exactly.
It's like in my hood. So, and I run by every day after lots of times I've eaten and I'm like, what would I get if I think about it as I run by? I'm like,
God,
oh yeah. That feeling of community, of the creativity, there is something that is joyful about it. It's named after y'all's Chinese zodiac signs together. It's about being together, right?
Yes.
So when you're working on the menu, Shuai, you've had a lot of different dishes and you're running through a lot of specials. Does that wear you out? I mean, like the menu isn't big, so there's a lot of room for play on the special board. And I know you work with Holy City Hogs and Abundant Seafood, and you work with a lot of other local purveyors. Do you have like themes or fences that you're doing? Like, how can you talk to us a little bit about your inspiration for the dishes and creativity? Because it is very you. I mean, I don't know you super well. We have hung out. I'm not going to presume, but I feel like when I eat your food, it is you.
Yeah, Corey always says that, and I kind of, I guess I get it. It's just, yeah, it's very quirky, as quirky as the restaurant is, I guess. I don't know. I can't really put a finger on what my exact creative process is. It's just like this last week we ran mapo tofu on Saturday, and I was like, oh, it'd be really good in mapo tofu pepperoni. So I put pepperoni in there, and I was like, it'd be really good to just put cheese on top too. So I don't know. Sometimes it's just I just think of flavors, and somehow it just clicks in my brain. Or like I think, what would I want to eat? Or like I'm a chubby kid who loves to eat. I was like, oh, okay. If I smash these two things together, it could be really good. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of roll the dice and see if it works or not. Mm-hmm. I do that a lot. It does get difficult. It does get very difficult often to kind of think of something new, because you're not trying to not reinventing the wheel at all in here. But like a lot of it comes from kind of just eating out or like reading books or just trying to get inspired by other really great chefs.
Also Taco Bell.
Yeah. Also Taco Bell.
Let's be real.
Let's be real. I mean, there's a lot that's happening.
Whenever we do actually get to get away, I always make sure that we try and go places to eat, which sounds like a no-brainer, but Shuai's always like, I don't need to be working all the time. And I'm like, no, but I don't think you realize how much inspiration you take from one really tasty bite. You can have like one thing or one flavor, and it can be across any kind of spectrum of food. And it just like, he comes back that week and he's all fired up, and suddenly that works its way into the menu in like a really fun, sensational way. So he just, you get inspired by so many things so easily. It's pretty incredible to watch too, just knowing how tired you are. And I do think for a while you could kind of tell, but like you're back. Like this week, the staff just kept eating like all of the lineup or like the specials and being like, that is really good, and I love it. Like, yes, because he can cook. It's really good.
It's been particularly more difficult this year, because the pandemic being short-staffed, and so having to work extra hours and extra shifts, and not having the time to kind of really sit and think about any specials or whatever. So I'll be honest, many days I'll just get there and say, oh shoot, I gotta do a special today. I'll just walk into the walk-in, I just look around and see what can I throw together that can be delicious today. Like we did the duck confit and kimchi pancake this past week also, and it's just like kimchi that we made in-house like 2 years ago, and like duck confit that I found somewhere. Oh,
good. Make it sound really appetizing. Come and eat at Jackrabbit Filly.
That's the reality of it. You're just so overworked that you don't even have time to think about these things.
But that's what's so interesting, is because you're working from this creative place that is very you. So when you don't have time to think, you're pulling from this well of a lot of different things.
Yeah. I don't know. My brain never stops. A lot of it starts right before I go to bed, so I don't sleep well, because I'm just constantly thinking about food. I'm literally always thinking about food, and I love to eat, and I love cooking for people. It's one of those weird things. Like I like making people happy, and that's why I started cooking, because it brings joy, it brings people together. So I'm just always thinking about new ways to I don't know, make people happy, I guess.
So you author, and you have to fight those two sides of things. And I know you and I have chatted. We're not going to go into that major today, but it's an ongoing calibration back and forth. But you are weaving a story, because restaurants are more than dining. There is a story of your life, but there's also a story of the relationship, the community, a point of view, and like a service model. And the quirkiness, I love the quirky. So the beams are exposed. The stuff is mismatched. There's not a huge wine list. I watched you paint place and, the booths, bright yellow. And so what is the story that you're weaving? Can you put it into words?
Oh, wow.
Because there was a vision.
There was a vision. It's also just, we're so ingrained in that story, I'm not sure I can see the bigger picture of it. It's still even hard for me to get that same vibe that I think people come in and feel. I look around and it's almost seeing too much behind the curtain, because I know how much goes into it, that I have to remind myself that it is awesome and we are doing well, and it's not sort of these little hiccups and headaches that I'm dealing with off to the side all the time. And to remember that it is a thing of love, and that there is joy in there, and that's what we're creating for people, because it feels like a lot of weight.
Yeah, I often say to Corrie, we have to remember what we built here together. With just me and her, built this restaurant that we absolutely love, and we're employing a handful of people, and people that are very happy to be working for us.
Well, and that we're very happy to work with. Right. I look around and I know everybody is stressed for a crew right now. And I'm just kind of shocked that we have so much talent in that house, and everybody is genuine and fun, and we get along great. We're very, very, and I say lucky, but I think I always say also like attracts like. So I get down on myself a lot, or I always think I could do something better. Or you think about the people that sort of didn't stick with you, or that it didn't kind of quite work out, but have to remind myself, like attracts like, and like, look at this fabulous crew you have, that they wouldn't be there if they didn't like it, or they weren't sort of getting something out of it.
Yeah, so, they're getting something out of it. Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's like Corrie said, you work so hard, and then every now and then, every restaurant has this, you get a stinker of a customer that just hates everything about your place. And I always tell Corrie, you can't make everyone happy. Certain people are not going to.
But I always think you can. So I'm always trying for that 100%.
Yeah, and we give our 100% every time, but sometimes, again, it's not your people. This not the vibes they like, and that's okay. But 1 out of 100 is like that, and then the other 99 are just people that are just they're just sitting there. You just see them smiling and looking around, and they eat the food, and they're just loving it, and just have to remind ourselves of that. Like, this is why we did it. Not for that one person, but the 99 other.
Right.
Just because we're doing something that no one else is doing in Charleston, and teaching people more about Chinese food than ever, and the fact that it doesn't have to be whatever they've been eating. It could be this whole other different thing. Like, our Chinese food is just there's not even like a definition for what kind of Chinese food it is.
No, it's your food.
Right.
It's your food as somebody straddling the cultures. Yeah. And I think that that's what's so significant about it. And it's a really democratic place. People bring their kids, people bring dates. I can come and sit by myself. You can bring groups of people. It's great. It takes a minute to get in, but I'm always rolling in like, what you got? You're like, not tonight.
I know, that one night I was like horrified to see you walk in, because I was like, I know these books are closed, and I love this woman, and I don't know what I'm going to do with her.
It's really
and you kind of just kept standing there, and I was like, I'll find a spot then.
Yeah. Well, we were needing food, and sometimes I go to things and places, and this is a little inside thing for the Southern Fork listeners. And, well, I'm not going to write about them because they weren't good. So I need a palate cleanser. Mm-hmm. And there are certain places that I will go after I've been to a place where I need to remind myself of what is good. And so that was a particular night, not that long ago, where I had been someplace. It was kind, but not my kind of place.
Interesting. Okay. That's why she wouldn't leave.
And I was like, I need to stay.
Good. I love it.
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing. And it is adventurous. It is fun. It's fun and adventurous because there's something always different, but there's stuff that's always the same too. I'm going to guess that this might be a torture that you're willing to sign up for again.
Yeah, always too ambitious for our own good kind of thing.
Well, and we like our ideas, so we like spitballing with each other. And so it's like, what we should do is a place like this. And before you know it, you're like looking at restaurant spaces.
What are we doing?
Why are we doing this?
It's, like, there's just so many fun ideas that both of us have that we're like, we need to do this. Mm-hmm. We need to do this just because it's fun.
Well, I think it is storytelling. Yeah. I really do. And I think that's my attraction to restaurants beyond just food purveyors, is because I'm a storyteller. And so like that, it fits, when the restaurant is telling a story. And the reason you can't put it into words, which I think is actually a good thing, is because you're communicating through other mediums. You're communicating through food, through vibe, through music, through the service model, all of those things. And that is communication as well. So on that note, did you bring me any sandwiches? No. You brought nothing.
I know.
The whole time I'm thinking
we were going to bring wine too. We're like, we'll bring the wine. And then I was like painting moments until we got here. Shuai was playing video games, and I was like, we gotta go. We're going to be late. Like, shoot, man. We just failed on all fronts.
It's okay. It's fine. I ate a light lunch in hopes that I was getting something. But
we owe you sandwiches.
That's okay. It's totally fine. It's been a long journey. we've been on this journey together. I've been learning how to do this podcast. You've been learning how to build restaurants and cook from your heart instead of cook what people want you to cook. Build a place that you can live in, because you live there a lot more than your house.
Sure do. Mm-hmm.
So what's making you hungry right now in July 2021? What are you looking forward to? What are you interested in?
I mean, we always say that we want to build careers, not jobs. Mm-hmm. So I am hungry to get some of these people, these like brilliant people that we have working for us, to come up so they can start doing our jobs. Yeah. But I mean that in the very best way.
Hungry for retirement.
Yeah. But it's going to let us, open that second spot. And we're very close, I think, to like getting all of sort of these key people and parts in place that we can not step away, because we're always going to be there. But let other people start sort of taking the reins. And it's exciting for me because everybody else has a much better sense of hospitality, I think, than I do, because I get stuck on sort of the 1% that, makes me really angry, because it is such a personal restaurant. Whereas everybody else, they just see that as an unhappy table and they're happy to do XYZ to make them happier. Whereas I'm like, not on my watch. So I'm excited to sort of bring up all these people and let them have the reins and see where they take it. That's what's making me hungry. And am I looking forward to maybe having an afternoon I can get back to writing? But yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see, we got it there and we got it open and it's running and it's going pretty smoothly. So you guys take it someplace. What can you do?
Yeah. And again, I just have just endless amount of ideas. Some of them more tangible than the others, but just want to keep building. I don't know how many projects we're going to do, but there's several in mind, either they'll come true or not. I think I just want to build restaurants build places or restaurants or projects that Charleston is missing. Because it's growing up in New York, all these places that made me feel like home, because either my parents took me to or whatever. I miss those things, having my parents being so far away from up north. And I just want to build these little places and turn Park Circle into what I grew up in. Eventually, when we do, don't have to do the day-to-day anymore, and can just build more projects and focus on the bigger picture, I can actually have time to go to these restaurants. Because you're just basically opening restaurants for selfish reasons, so I can go to them.
Yeah. Well,
I hope we see that day.
I think that's a lot of restaurateurs, honestly. They make what they want because taste is subjective. That's what you want. What's one aspect of this job that really meshes with an aspect of your personality?
I think all the quirky you were talking about, I think that's me. I don't know. My little sister is always like, you guys can't see it from where you're at, but I follow your Instagram and there's a way that people interact with you in that space that I don't see for any other restaurant I know. And she's like, in your sweatpants Sundays and your, Christmas in July and all these dumb things. I think that's all me. I think I'm the dumb things that we do. But I like it. And I think that's why we have our quirky staff and, why we're taking trips to Harry Potter World, even though we should be working Sunday brunch. And
money.
Well,
who needs it?
We don't need it. I'm not doing this for the monies. I think I bring a lot of the silly.
Yeah, I feel like having my own, even since short growing and now the restaurant, just having your own place and being able to do whatever you want is perfectly I don't know, always having worked with someone, you always had to stick with the theme, hey, this is a American restaurant, or this is kind of menu that we have to do, or this is Kaya, this is what we have to do. Now it's I can just do whatever I want. It's like moving out of your parents' house for the first time ever. So I feel like I can cook the exact food how I like it, and it really shows how I just like to have fun. I don't take food too seriously. I don't take life too seriously, because if you don't have fun with it, then what's the point? So I feel that's what the whole menu kind of shows.
But the execution is serious.
Right, yeah.
The construction and the creativity is fun, but the execution is serious.
Yeah, I'm very anal about a lot of things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I was gonna say too. I think it's funny that you picked like you don't take life too seriously, and I picked I'm silly because I don't think that's at all how the crew sees either one of us. Maybe this is what we brought to the restaurant, but I don't think that. I don't know if that would necessarily carry over.
One thing that keeps you up at night.
Oh.
Rapid fire.
Oh.
Shuai's already said ideas.
Mine is sometimes the conversations I have to have the next day. This thing happened. Now I have to talk about that with so-and-so or, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I always also just have this in general running to-do list. That's, to-do lists never end. But I feel like with this restaurant, and maybe I'm just so used to it now that I'm making stuff up, but there is just always something that like needs immediate attention or someone wants something from you. And I think
that's not just restaurants.
No.
That's running your own business. It's running your own business.
I think I've gotten to the point. I mean, yes, I think about food all the time, especially, before going to bed, but also, like the amount of stuff that I have to do, either it's like restaurants day-to-day stuff or like events that's coming up, or I don't know, just everything that you have to do in the next few days, and there's always a timeline, or there's always a deadline of some kind. I've been better about just kind of try to turn my brain off. Mm-hmm. I put my phone on like, not disturb, and like 9:00, and just like no phone calls, none of that. And like biggest part of this also learning is just from opening this restaurant is like, like it's a lot of work, and like you're trying to keep it open, but you gotta take care of yourself first, so I try to do that and just really try to turn my brain off before I can go to bed.
Well, since you're neighbors, friends.
Hey
neighbor, we're sitting inside my house today, but I have something in my one closet in there that is a magic picnic basket. I can time travel with this. I can go back in time and can script anybody to make any specific dish that you would like. I can source for you, and I can cook a little bit. And I'd love to bring you some of your favorite things. They don't have to go together. It doesn't have to be a composed meal. And since you work together, you're married, and you still currently live together with 3 dogs, I'm going to make you do one picnic basket together. Each pick a couple things that you would like to put in this dream meal scenario.
My first thought, and this is not a couple things.
So why?
So like a 6-pack of wine.
No, my first thought, and it's because we were just talking about this, but that buffet that closed down, that Chinese buffet that we always used to go to when I first met your family.
Oh, yeah.
If you could just pull that out of that picnic basket, it was just the best thing ever.
Corrie are very big on buffets. I know it's like one of those like things that you either just frown upon. It's like it's just like.
I wonder if everybody that cooks is like us or it's just us, but like we don't eat well outside of work. We're not.
Terrible.
I mean, sometimes he's making like things, but it's more just like you're just making Chinese food at home, which is delicious, blah, blah. But it's not. We're not eating like beautifully sourced this or that. We're just eating
mainly
junk food.
Restaurant leftovers, I think.
I don't know. So we still that I would take that buffet out of it, or then I would probably pick like a bunch of your mom's dishes and my mom's hot dog casserole from growing up, which you've never had, but it was very fancy to me.
And where did you grow up, Corrie?
In Buffalo, New York. We know about a good casserole in Buffalo.
What would I put in? Probably Taco Bell. No, I don't.
I don't know. I mean, I would eat it any time, but your mom's like peas and curry.
My
With,
mom
like,
has
the
really good
scallion
peas and
pancakes.
curry and scallion pancake thing. That's
those,
very,
like,
very good.
Buns that she made last time we were home.
A lot of my mom's cooking, I think.
Yeah, it would just
really
be your
is.
mom. Actually,
I would just put my mom
pull your
in the
mom out,
picnic basket.
and she would like get to work.
And she would just come out like
That would be
instead of a
amazing.
cake, it would be your mom coming out of the picnic basket with a selection of dishes like this.
I keep thinking like, what would I even want to put in there? Like everything that I crave is always things that my mom make. It's just like they just came to visit this past July 4th weekend, and I just brought like trays and trays of sticky rice that she made, and like this soy braised beef tendon that you slice and like wrap in like scallion pancake. Just like things that I grew up eating. That's what I always crave because you can't get that anywhere else.
Right.
And bottles of wine in the basket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That my mom's food, my mom in the basket, and bottles of wine.
I feel like we'd have to put my mom in too, otherwise her feelings might get hurt.
And Corey's mom.
And the hot dog casserole.
And she would come carrying the hot dog casserole.
Tuna noodle salad.
Yeah,
her
my mom's tuna noodle salad
is very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you want to learn more about Jackrabbit Filly and my friends Corrie and Shuai, you can go to thesouthernfork.com. I'm going to have links there as well as the faces behind the voice. Also, you want to definitely check out their dedicated episode page on the Southern Fork because I'm going to have the link there to the first time we spoke, which has been 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're going to want to hear these babes in the woods and how bad my sound engineering was back in that day. But if you like what you hear, I hope that you forgive that sound engineering and dig into the archives because there are more than 235 episodes that really delve into the stories behind some of the best food in the South and the makers. So, and I can choose the South, and I choose Texas and Maryland and DC too, because it's my show.
So there. You take that. Other states.
Other states. I've also been to LA. Don't judge me. I ate some Southern food there too. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you for having us. We love you.
Love you too.
Hello and welcome to Talking with My Mouth Full. In this line of work, I am often asked for recommendations. In fact, recommendations are a lot of what I do in my writing, but I also get to do it in person and in email when people email me, and of course in DMs when people reach out to me that way. But beyond just asking where should they eat in a certain place or where would I suggest to eat, they might have a follow-up question. And they go, what should I order? As I get more and more into this work and as restaurants shift and change with the times, just like everything else culturally, that question is becoming harder and harder to answer. We are seeing a definite shift away from the very organized appetizer, main dish, desserts for a single person. So if you're going out and you're thinking, I'm going to order an appetizer and what am I going to get for my entree? Of course, you can still find plenty of places that do that and even plenty more where they can make it work. But my answer more and more is becoming order more. Food writers and people who eat with them often order a crazy amount of food because we're trying to get a lot of different flavors and really get a good idea of the restaurant. But beyond that, beyond the work stuff, it's entertainment and it's really, really fun. So at a place like Jackrabbit Filly, when people ask me what should I order, I say the important thing is to bring a couple of friends if possible and to order as much as you can. Jackrabbit Filly doesn't have a large menu, and a lot of places, including it, have things that are meant to be shared, almost family style. Menus across the country are changing the way they're read. They are not organized as much as into appetizers, main dishes, and desserts, but they might be organized by small or large plates. They might be organized by plant forward or meat based. And then I have been to a couple of restaurants that are coming to mind that organize by hot or cold dishes. And that's especially helpful if there is a raw bar at the restaurant. So menus provide a fascinating glimpse, and one of the best ways to open and expand your palate is to bring a friend and try some dishes together. See what you think. Share your opinions and order. And you know me, No Waste Kitchen. Always ask for to-go boxes. Until next time, thanks for listening.
You've been listening to The Southern Fork. I can't wait to bring you more culinary conversations, but in the meantime, I have one question. Are you gonna eat all that?